Hello everyone, and welcome back to another music theory lesson. Today we're going to be working on 9.4, more practice with dotted quarter notes. So we're going to be reviewing rhythms that we've learned earlier in the semester, and then work on counting those rhythms, since this is a newer and a little bit more complex topic. So the first thing that we're going to do is a quick review over the number of counts and the types of notes that are written below under number 1. So that first example right there, that is a half note. And remember, whenever we're looking at rhythms, we have to first look at the time signature. So the quarter note gets the beat in 4/4 time. So a half note in 4/4 time gets 2 beats. Next up, we've got the dotted half note. So a regular old half note gets 2 beats. The dot adds half of the original value. So that would be 2 plus 1. So that's 3 beats, and that is just called a dotted half note. Then we've got our quarter note in 4/4 time, that gets 1 beat. And then our dotted quarter note is a little bit more complicated. So remember that the dot adds half the original value, so half of 1 is 1/2. So 1 plus 1/2 is 1.5 beats. Let me finish writing quarter note here. So that gets 1.5 beats total, okay? So whenever we're writing the dotted quarter notes, that's when it gets a little bit funky, because we're going to have to show that it's 1.5 beats. So if we bring out our little bar graph that we sometimes like to do, and we write in our first beat, here's beat 2, here's beat 3, and beat 4. So that's beat 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this dotted half note is going to get us halfway through our beat 2. So that means that this is going to take up the full beat 1 and go all the way to beat 2. Then this eighth note is going to take up the last half of that second beat, so that's going to be and. You can also think of this as 1 and 2, if that's easier for you. But the 1-2 works as well. Then this is going to start on beat 3 right here. That's going to have, so 3 and 4, so 3-4 and, okay? When we do that in reverse, that is going to get the first half of the beat, but then we still have the and of 1 that we need to put somewhere. So we're going to assign that to the second beat right there, which is that dotted quarter note. So that is going to be 1 and 2 and, same thing here, 3 and 4 and. And this is where it gets tricky right here. So you can just memorize that it is always going to be 1 and 2 and if you see the eighth note first. But remember that that second beat is going to start on the and, because this eighth note is not a full beat like a quarter note. So that's why we have to attach the and to the dotted half note. Because this, if we put that in the bar graph form like we did here, that little eighth note only takes up the first half of that beat. So if we have 1 and, the and is then assigned to that quarter note right there, that dotted quarter note. So then on the next one, we have a combination of those two rhythms. So this is going to be 1 and 2, or 1-2 and. Then we have 3 and 4 and, like that. The next one is 1 and 2 and, 3-4 and. So if we try to count and clap that, that's going to sound like this. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now, you might need to try that slower, but this is an important thing that you should be able to do. We'll review this a little bit more in class tomorrow, how to count and clap these rhythms together. If you can write them right now, that is a great place to start, but being able to perform that is an important skill to have as well, okay? We will do 2B really quick, and then we'll review some of the rest in class tomorrow. So, 1-2, because that half note gets 2 beats, 3-4, and then we have the and attached to that last eighth note. Then always rests get parentheses around them, and 2 and. Notice that that eighth note is the same, or that eighth rest is counted the same as if we had an eighth note there. So 1 in parentheses, and 2 and, 3 and, or sorry, 3, 4, and, like that. And we're going to put parentheses around that. We get some weird syncopation here with the offbeat. That's 1 and, 2 and, 3-4 and I'm going to put parentheses around those rests. Again, this is the same rhythm as if we had 2 pairs of eighth notes there. It's just the first beat is a rest, or that first note is a rest. 3-4 and, then this gets a little bit funky. 1, so we can see here that that's going to take up 2 beats, right? Because we know that this takes up 3 and 4 and, just based on what we've done before. So we know that in here we need to have 1 and 2 and at some point. So that means that this is going to get 1, then we have and 2 and. Okay, that's a little bit of a funky rhythm there, but still very similar. If we were just to tie these two together, that would look like an example that we had earlier in the day, which is just like this. So we just have to attach that last and to that last eighth note. And that's going to be tricky to count. Let's see if we can do 2B together. We'll go slow. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and rest, and 2, and 3, rest, and rest, and rest, and 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. Oh, I messed up that last measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and is what that last measure should be. Sorry about that. Let's try that whole thing one more time for both of us. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 and rest, and 3, rest, and rest, and rest, and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Tricky stuff there. That's fun to count and clap. So you can work on the last 2 on your own, but we'll take a look at those tomorrow in class, and then we will do a rhythmic dictation as well, where we write down, I'll perform a rhythm for you, and you will write it down. If you have any questions, bring them to class tomorrow. Otherwise, that's all we have for you today. Have a great night, everybody.